What's up, everyone? Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I'm your host, Denise Salcedo. Today it is October 15th, and I just gotta say, right now I am completely feeling like overwhelmed because we had so much wrestling here tonight. We had SmackDown. We had the Rampage show. We had the Rampage buy-in show. We had no commercial breaks for some of this stuff. We had an additional half hour of SmackDown. It was absolutely nuts trying to watch both of these shows at the exact same time. You guys were here when I was doing the Wednesday Night Wars and I was covering both of these shows. And so like for AEW Dynamite and NXT, but it's been such a long time since I've had to do that where it felt sort of chaotic today, where like if anybody here was trying to watch both shows at once, I mean it was an eye workout trying to keep up with absolutely everything. So today we are going to go ahead and talk about everything that went down here tonight, or at least we're going to talk about like the major moments, like the must talk about moments. We're not going to talk about the things that really aren't important, but we are going to go over all of the major things that happened because so much went down and there was a lot of fighting for my attention as I was doing my notes and tweeting and all of that good stuff. Now, before we get started, I do want to make sure to welcome each and every single person who is here on the live stream, who's listening to the audio, who's watching the replay, however you watch this stream. I want to thank you guys so much for always taking part in the show. I also do want to let you know that as we move forward through this stream, please feel free to send in any super chats. If you guys want to send in super chats, I will be reading your thoughts, your comments, and your statements on the air. And I also do get to keep 100% of the proceeds from all super chats. So if you guys do send some in, they help me out very much. F4W does allow me to keep 100% of the money that I make after YouTube takes a cut of my money here on all my shows. So it's going to be a good time, everybody. Oh my God. Where to begin? All right, I'm going to start off with our first super chat, and then we're just going to go ahead and like get right into it because there's just way too much to talk about today. We got our first super chat. This one is from Brandon Roseanne. Thank you so much to Brandon, who says, flipping back and forth between SmackDown and Rampage made it feel like this Monday Night War for me again. It was awesome. It was awesome to have so much wrestling and so much good stuff to watch, but I prefer having dedicated days to a certain promotion, to a certain show, to a certain company. Having, both of them sort of like competing for my attention really messes me up because my attention isn't 100% on something. It's like 80%, like depending on what's going on in the show, it's like 80% on something, 20% on the other, or 90% and 10%, or 50 and 50%. So depending on what's going on the shows at the exact same time kind of determines what I'm going to be paying attention more to. So as a person who has to review the show, it's not ideal, but if you're a fan and even if you're a fan, it could like sometimes not be ideal because if you're watching on two screens, your attention's going to be split or you're going to be flipping channels, whatever your method is. So I would say like I do like having dedicated days to a certain show and to a certain product. It just makes things so much more easier. But thank you so much to Brandon for sending in this super chat. We got another super chat from Chris Aludek. Thank you so much to Chris, who says, if the Inner Circle brought in a female to combat Paige Van Zant, who would you have it be? Also, I think this Lesnar Heyman Roman angle on level with Austin versus McMahon. I love it. I am definitely feeling Roman Reigns, especially this heel Roman face with this, baby face Brock Lesnar, the dynamic of what those two, what they are both bringing to the table has been absolutely enjoyable. In terms of bringing in a female to combat Paige Van Zant, I do not have an answer for you just yet. I would have to do a little bit more thinking about that, but that is an interesting idea, and we are going to talk about that a little bit more as we go throughout this entire show. But thank you so much to Krista Deck for also sending in a super chat here today. Once again, if you guys want to get your comments, your question, or your statement read on the air, please feel free to send in a super chat and I will definitely go ahead and read it as we go through here. 100% guaranteed. All right, guys, but let's go ahead and do this because we got so much to get into. So I'm just going to go and talk about the things that I considered important. And we're going to start off with SmackDown. So we're going to start off with SmackDown. We got a couple of things to talk about. So first and foremost, today was SmackDown Supersized, which meant we were getting 2.5 hours of SmackDown. And also we got this like banger of a main event with Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch, which absolutely made SmackDown for me. But the topics that I do want to touch on with SmackDown is if you were watching, it was very noticeable that they weren't necessarily sold out in Ontario. And there were a lot of people that were kind of bringing this up and talking about this. So I did want to make a note of like, man, like I didn't think that I based on what I saw on television, I was a little surprised at how many like empty seats there were, especially because like at the end of the day, like Ontario is like no small city whatsoever. It's about like an hour's drive away from me. Obviously, because of traffic and all of that, it would be probably a little bit more, which is why I didn't even consider going to the show. But it is interesting to see the turnout that there was for Ontario. So I was a little bit surprised at the turnout. I hope it does get better, especially when they come down to Los Angeles. And I do think it'll be better once they're in Los Angeles because it's more of like a hotbed for like a ton of people here. But I would say that the Ontario turnout necessarily wasn't that great. However, a lot of people were writing to me that, you know, obviously because of traffic, and I live here in Southern California, so I know exactly what the traffic situation is like over here. So I know a lot of people were also late to the show, but it was pretty interesting to see. We got a super chat from Marcus Gunn who says, I don't know why we're getting Charlotte versus Bianca for Raw Women's Championship early. He says, IDK why we're getting Charlotte versus Bianca for Raw Women's Championship early. So I do want to talk about like the women's matches, and there's some points that I want to bring up that kind of tie in to this actual super chat. So I'll probably get to it the second we get to that topic. But thank you so much to Marquise because he actually reminded me of something that I do want to talk about once we get to the women's topic as we go there. We got another super chat from Mario Morales who says, how dare you put Ontario over? It's Southern California. That is true. So if you guys were listening, for those of you who watch SmackDown and you guys were listening to the commentary, they kept saying they were in Southern California. They did not promote Ontario. And I made a joke and I was like, man, ain't nobody putting over Ontario. No shade against Ontario. It's just a funny joke to make. But thank you so much to Mario Morales for sending in that super chat. We got another super chat from Brian Mahoney who says, what's up, Denise? If Paige Van Zandt keeps it up, we might get Jericho hitting her with the Stephanie McMahon insult. Dude, Paige Van Zandt, if like she were to like seriously pursue a career in pro wrestling, I think that she could definitely be a star, man. She's got the look, and based on the fact that a lot of people even want to talk about her right now, we're not even on the subject yet. That should probably tell you a lot about Paige Van Zandt. But thank you so much to Brian for sending in that super chat. So anyway, so let's get back to SmackDown here. Let's talk about some of the big moments. They kicked off the show with Edge. And to be honest, I've said this a million times. I'm very, very much over and done with the Edge Seth Rollins feud. We've been going back and forth with this for such a long time. They officially announced the Hell in a Cell match that's happening at Crown Jewel. I am looking forward to that match itself, but after this, I do want Edge and Seth Rollins to officially move on. I'm kind of done with this here. The only funny part about this was there was a moment when Edge basically said, like, because Seth Rollins broke into Edge's house. So Edge basically tells him, like, how would you feel if I did the exact same thing? And maybe I should go to your house and I should have an encounter with your wife. Obviously, as we all know, Becky Lynch. And I kind of thought that was a little bit silly, well, because Becky Lynch works there. So it was just kind of one of those things where I was like, all right, cool, whatever. So there really wasn't much there. But one of the main moments that I really, really enjoyed from SmackDown was the Finn Balor, Sami Zayn semifinals match for the King of the Ring tournament. So this was a fantastic match. If you did not watch this match, I would say go out of your way and watch this match because Finn Balor has been absolutely killing it during this King of the Ring tournament. They've actually been having a lot of good stuff, a lot of good men's matches in the King of the Ring tournament. I would say for the most part, I've been enjoying the King of the Ring. And dude, during this match, Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn, they knocked it out of the park. They had a nice, steady start to this match. We saw a tope con hilo before the commercial break. We saw Sami Zayn try to cheat, putting his feet on the ropes, but obviously that's not going to fly. Finn Balor gets him with double drop kicks, eventually hits him with the coup de grace, and that is how he's able to get the win. And Finn Balor is moving on in this tournament. Again, this was sort of predictable. We talked about this last week and probably even the week before this. We all knew that Sami Zayn was going to be going to Saudi Arabia. That was not going to happen. So we all knew that Finn Balor was going to win this match. So they did a good job, though I will say this. They did a great job at making you somewhat believe that it wasn't going to happen. So we all kind of went into this knowing, okay, Finn Balor has to win because Sami can't go to Saudi Arabia. Great. Well, during this match, they kind of gave Sami Zayn a couple of moments where you kind of thought, you know what? Maybe he might win, where it kind of took you a second to realize like, okay, it's not going to happen, but they actually gave you a good match to sort of make up for that. So I will say I was a big fan of this match here. And let's go through a couple more comments here and let's see if we have any comments on this match. And I'm going to go through a couple more. This one is from Justin Martin. This is in regards to Edge's promo, saying that his promo was outstanding. The conviction in his voice when he said he'd scar Seth's soul really sold me on the Cell match. We have a comment from Leonard Aarons III who says, not for nothing, this could have been a good time for them to go back to 2018 with Becky going at Edge about his neck and such. Could have further solidified Edge as a face while pushing Bex as a heel. Interesting point there from Leonard Aarons. We got a super chat from Diable37 who says, Becky versus Sasha was really good, but why do they need a super show to let wrestlers wrestle? P.S. Can't wait for the Bucks hometown show in Ontario. So in terms of like, we all know like why they decided to do this like 30 extra minutes and all of that stuff. We get it. We've been reading the articles. We've been seeing what people are saying in terms of they could have easily, obviously they didn't have to. They could have easily just done the 2 hours and had this match with Becky and Sasha. But I did kind of like how it worked out. Like even though it was more, troublesome for me to have to watch two shows, aside from that, Becky and Sasha really tore the house down. And the fact that they didn't have any sort of commercial breaks to get in between what they were doing, it made this match feel even more special. And I'll get into more details once we actually get to that match, but I do want to say like I didn't mind it so much because it was a really, really great match. One of the best matches that I saw in the entire night out of both shows here tonight. So I really enjoyed that. All right, this is a comment from Edward Gonzalez who says, as soon as I saw Edge sitting on a chair to open SmackDown after a recap, he then gave a recap, and to the Astros game, I went. That's the thing that for me has sort of been taking me out of this because they sort of been doing the exact same thing over and over with Edge and Seth Rollins, where they kind of come out and they cut the same exact promo. They change the words up here and there, but overall, it's kind of the same thing. So I do get why some people might lose interest when you see Edge go and go for the promo, the same exact promo that we've been hearing nonstop. After this, we go into Naomi versus Sonya Deville. That was the match that was announced. That was the match that we thought we were going to get, but that was not the match that we got. And I think a lot of people here were already expecting some sort of swerve because even last week, everybody was telling me like, Denise, it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. And I was like, I have a feeling it's not going to happen, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Now, I thought that I was going to hate this. I thought that I was going to hate the fact that we didn't get Naomi versus Sonya Deville on a one-on-one. But I got to tell you, I ended up liking this so much more. So we had Sonya coming out and essentially saying that this was going to be a handicap match and she would be teaming with Shayna Baszler. So it was Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler versus Naomi. So this was pretty cool. We saw Sonya just slap the hell out of Naomi and then literally run out of the ring. So really good heel work from Sonya there. We saw Obviously, we saw Shayna Baszler do most of the work during this match. We then see Sonya get back into the ring and kind of get a couple of cheap shots in on Naomi. She got her with a running kick. And then we do see Naomi obviously try to work. You know, she's in a handicap match, so chances are she's going to lose this match, especially when she has Shayna Baszler there, who's literally been on fire, just killing girls left and right. But we got some really nice moments here for Naomi. We saw her do a springboard enziguri from Naomi to Shayna, and immediately the second she did that, it was kind of a reminder of why the hell haven't they done anything with Naomi? I don't get it. Like, Naomi is so freaking cool. She's got such a great look. She can actually go in the ring. If this was one of these instances where you were saying like, oh, Naomi's not good, she sucks, this and that, I would be like, all right, cool. She's, maybe she's not getting time because she's not that great or whatever. But it's completely opposite of that. Like, Naomi is so good and she's so fun and she actually brings something different to the table that, other women on the roster aren't bringing. And here's the other thing. There's a spot for her. There's a spot for somebody like Naomi. So we'll talk about this more because I'm going to get into spots and the women's roster and all of this stuff. But instantly, it was just like in that one moment where I was thinking, damn, we need to do more with Naomi. But anyways, we see, obviously, she continues this on. We see Sonya Deville basically doing all these shenanigans on the outside of the ring. So Naomi kind of like pulls her by the hair and she grabs Sonya and she brings her into the ring. And then Shayna uses this as an opportunity to grab Naomi and get her in a Karafuda clutch. So as she's doing that, she ends up laying her down. She lays her out on the ring and allows Sonya to essentially get the pin on Naomi. She just puts her foot on her chest. 1, 2, 3, get the win. I love this. I actually thought this furthered so much more of the story that they're trying to tell with Sonya and with Naomi, where I'm finally starting to get behind this feud. Like, I saw a lot of people, they were really liking this feud. A lot of people were digging it. I was kind of like, okay, it's all right. But for me, this is probably the best thing that they have done between Sonya and Naomi thus far. And I know whenever they do Sonya versus Naomi one-on-one, legitimately, I think it'll definitely be a good match. So we'll talk more about the women in just a second because we are going to get into the Queen's Crown tournament shortly. But let's go ahead and see a couple of your thoughts here on this match with Naomi and Sonya and Shayna and all of that. Here we go. This is a comment from Mac Hensley who says, "They made me not worry about how long the match went, and it was a great story told in a squash match. This is what a squash match should be. Everyone comes out looking great, and Shayna is amazing." And I'm glad that you bring this up because, dang, I don't want to jump all over the place right now, but I am going to get into timing because that's been such a hot topic. And I think that based on what people have seen me post on Twitter, they probably think that I'm just like all about timing and all about timing. That's not necessarily the case. And I'm going to break that down once we actually get to the Queen's Crown tournament. But I'm actually glad that Mac here brought up this comment because we are going to touch on this in a hot second here. And this is a comment from Robert Bailey Jr. who says, "It might be time for Naomi to go heel and maybe start to ruffle the division with intensity. Too bad WWE is top heavy with heels in this women's division right now." And I like your train of thought. I like where you're thinking of like, hey, maybe we should turn Naomi heel. I get it. But you kind of just answered your same question where it's like, damn, like we have so many heels right now. We got Becky Lynch, who was the ultimate baby face, is now a heel, and that's been like a hit/miss. So it's like we need more female baby faces. We need more baby faces in general, but since we're just talking about the women right now, we need more baby face women, and Naomi is literally the perfect person. So like in a way, I get it. Like she should be so frustrated to the point where she turns heel, but I kind of don't want them to go that direction with Naomi. I want them to go. I want them to build her up as a strong baby face because Lord knows we need it on this roster. We definitely need it. So thank you so much for sending in this comment here. And let's go through a couple more matches, a couple more comments here. And we had one that I wanted to read, but I lost it here. This is a comment from Nicholas who says, Naomi gets left in the back so much I forget she's on the roster. She's the most, if not one of the most athletic wrestlers on the women's roster. She should be owning the division. Dude, when she came back and we had her in the Royal Rumble, dude, she was one of the highlights of the women's Royal Rumble where I was just like, yes, this is officially it. We're finally going to, go, we're probably, we're finally going to get Naomi to this next level on the roster. And then after the Royal Rumble, like, kind of didn't happen, but we got some really great moments. Like when I think of this past year's Royal Rumble, she's like instantly one of the people that like pops into my brain when I think about it. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on. Once again, friendly reminder to those of you guys here in this live stream, if you guys want to send in a super chat, you are more than welcome to. I will make sure to read your comments, 100% guaranteed. All right, here we go. I'm going to skip the Seth Rollins segment, guys, because I did not watch that because like I said, people were fighting for my attention here today, but we are finally going to get into the meat of this topic here with the Queen's Crown tournament. Before we do, we got a super chat from Leonard Aarons III who says, at some point, the answer has to stop being so-and-so should go heel. There are solid faces like Naomi and Liv Morgan who are ridiculously underutilized. Well, my friend, you lead me into the Queen's Crown tournament. So let's do this. Let's get into it. I've been ruffling feathers, everybody, and I don't like it, but you know what? It is what it is. I've been ruffling feathers on Twitter because I've been posting the times to the Queen's Crown tournament, and they necessarily have not been great. We had 4 matches in the first round matches for the Queen's Crown tournament, 4 matches. All of those matches combined barely, and I think they were just a little bit under 10 minutes. That is 4 matches, guys, that did not even surpass the 10-minute mark. Please, again, let me put that in perspective. 4 matches that didn't even surpass the 10-minute mark combined in total. And a lot of people were kind of angry that I posted that up there, but it was just one of those things where this is why I had to do it. This is why I personally put those times up there. So I always talk about building up more women, right? Building up more women so that your champions can actually have proper contenders, can actually have proper challengers. That's one side of it. Another side of it as to why I always post this type of stuff is that it is very noticeable. For example, today we had an awesome match with Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks, right? Fantastic match. There are certain women that, because they're main eventers on the roster, they get plenty of time, right? And that's great. That's the way it should be. You get your main eventers and they get plenty of time. Fantastic. That's the way that's the way it is for the men. Should be the same way for the women. But if you look at the men's roster, we got main eventers, we got mid-carders, and then we got, your people on the lower mid-card. So it's like you got levels of different people on the roster and different spots that they fit into in the show and different types of matches that they're going to have. If you look at the women's division, it's nothing like that. You have your main event women, you have your Sasha Banks, your Charlotte Flairs, your Becky Lynches, all of those women up there that get this, core amount of time. Fantastic. That's great. But then there's like nothing in the middle and all you have at the bottom, and then it goes straight down to like the women at the very bottom. And that's my issue. My issue is that you're never going to get anybody from down here to get higher so that they could eventually, actually match up with the women on the women at the top. So that's my issue, where it's like, if you want to build up challengers, if you want to make this tournament actually mean something, if you want this tournament to feel special and feel legitimate, you need to prove it to the people. You need to show the people that, like, A, these women can go, B, you should care about these women. And how are you going to do that? You're going to do that by giving them interesting stories, giving them a respectable amount of time. And here's the other thing that I want to say is that I'm not saying that every single match needs to be 10, 15 minutes. That's not what I'm saying whatsoever. But it does help. Like there's certain matches where I'm like, all right, cool. Like that was fine. You know, it was a short match, whatever. That's the story that it needed to be. That's the point that they wanted to get across. That was the point of this match, the purpose of this match. Cool. But there are other matches that need to be a lot longer if you want the Queen's Crown tournament to actually mean something, and if you want the women's division to actually mean something. It's all about building. And this is something that I said on the Raw post show, and I'm going to reiterate it again, because when I posted that tweet up with all of the times, a lot of people were really upset. And basically, I had some comments like, well, you know, we don't need to see people like Doudrop have a long match, or we don't need to see, you know, Dana Brooke have a long match. And that's the mentality that people need to, this is part of the reason why we need to have these longer matches, so that people don't associate certain types of women with just, oh, well, they're just there for like 2-minute match. They're just there for a 1-minute match. If you want to actually build people up, build them up, you got to actually give them something, you know? And so that, it could go a million different directions, but it was just kind of one of those things where it was kind of a little bit frustrating where, you know, unfortunately, like this is a tournament that so many people have been looking forward to, where it's like, oh, we're finally getting it. Like we're finally getting a Queen of the Ring tournament. And essentially it's left a lot to be desired. So that's one of the things, like, that's why I post the times. That's why I put that information out there. And unfortunately, like, you know, obviously a lot of people were upset about it, but at the end of the day, like, facts are facts. And if it's a short match, it's a short match. And people were upset, obviously, because they want to have these long women's matches. Anyway, so we had Carmella versus Zelina, guys. And we are looking at, this match ended up being 2 minutes and 41 seconds. This is a semifinals match. I repeat, a semifinals match. It was 2 minutes and 41 seconds. And this included Carmella getting out of the ring, asking the referee for a timeout because she wanted to put her mask that she's been wearing to protect herself from shots that Zelina was throwing to her, to Liv Morgan being on the outside of the ring, holding up her mask and essentially basically like taunting it in front of her, and then her eventually getting back into the ring and Zelina getting the victory here. So it was like, it wasn't even like an actual, like, obviously you had, you know, action in the ring, but it wasn't necessarily the full 2 minutes and 41 seconds weren't necessarily like a full on match there. So that was one of the things that like I wanted to get across, and I'm out of breath now, everybody. Wow. All right. What did you guys think? What do you guys think about this? Send in your thoughts. I'm going to be reading your comments right now. Let's get into this. We got Reductive92 who just sent a super chat saying preach. Sorry, I can't talk anymore, guys. It's just like one of those things where you get lost in your thoughts and you just start talking and rambling and ranting. Oh, God. Anyways, thank you so much to Reductive92 for sending in this super chat. I really appreciate it. We got another one from Mega Flint who says, I'm glad that Zelina won. Hi, Denise, you look amazing. I'm surprised that Zelina made it this far in the tournament. Again, one of the other topics that people were talking about was the fact that, you know, a lot of the fan favorites got eliminated fast. And that's fine. Like, if they, you know, they're actually going to do something with Zelina, then that's great. But I don't really know if they're going to do anything with Zelina. Like, it took them months to even give her like a winning match since she returned back to the company. So it is going to be interesting to see where they go from there with Zelina. And obviously now Zelina is either going to, she's either going to face Shayna Baszler and, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the other person now. Wow. Anyways, it's one of those things that's just very frustrating, guys. It's very, very frustrating. I kind of went on a rant and it's just gotten me all here, but let's see what you guys are saying, because we're getting so many comments here. This one is from Darth Steven C77 who says, sadly, it seems like if the women's matches do not involve the title, then the women get shortchanged. That's not even necessarily true. Like, well, actually, yeah, you got a point there, but there have been like some matches where like, even if they had actual stakes involved, they didn't necessarily get the justice that you would expect. We got a super chat from CT who says, last 4 women's Queen Crown matches, 9 minutes. Edge's promo segment tonight, 10 minutes. Was it really 10 minutes? No way. Was it really 10 minutes? I didn't keep track of the time for that. Dude, what the hell? And see, like, that's the thing. This is a tournament, everybody. A tournament. We're supposed to make it legitimate, right? we're supposed to care about it. Oh my God. All right, let's see what else we got. We got a comment from Christian Culver who says it is absolutely ridiculous. They needed more time for at least a couple of matches, and Liv and Tony should have gone over and had like a 10-minute match this week. They needed to build it up, make the semifinals actually mean something. I'm gonna go over here really quickly and check these times here because I have them, and now I don't know. Okay. So the times that we had here, Zelina Vega, Toni Storm was 2 minutes, 13 seconds. Carmella, Liv Morgan, 1 minute, 33 seconds. Shayna and Dana Brooke, 1 minute and 22 seconds. Natty and Doudrop, which was the longest match of the tournament, was 2 minutes and 59 seconds. And then the semifinals, 2 minutes and 41 seconds. So you guys do the math on that. I didn't even want to do the math, but it's out there, guys. That information is out there. Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and move on. So after this, we had the Usos essentially defeat the Profits in a street fight. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch much of this match because this literally went head to head with the Suzuki Bryan Danielson match. So I did not get to see much of this match, which was unfortunate because from what I saw, it looked pretty darn good. But I can't tell you much other than that. Let's get into the main event of SmackDown, and then we're going to go ahead and move on to all of the AEW stuff because we got so much to talk about. All right, so Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, by far my second favorite match of the night. Definitely my second favorite match of the night. They absolutely went out there and they freaking killed it, man. No commercial breaks, the final half hour of SmackDown, and they went at it like this is what you expect from Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. But before we get to that, we got a super chat from Jose Yepes. Thank you so much to Jose, who says, women's tournament average match length is 2 minutes and 9 seconds. It's very sad. Very, very sad. All right. So anyways, I already talked about how I felt about the actual slots, but let's get into the actual match and some of the main moments that I pretty much enjoyed. The reason why I enjoyed this match was that it was a really nice pace for the both of them. They worked this match like full 100% speed. They were just going at it. They brought so much aggression throughout this entire match. There was a moment where Sasha goes for a running knee on Becky Lynch, but Becky Lynch moves out of the way, and you literally just see Sasha Banks' knees hit the dang ring post, and you hear this like terrible sound. It was such a disgustingly awesome spot, but it was brutal. That was one of my favorite parts of this. We see Sasha essentially hit her with a backstabber, the first of many. We see Becky hit her with a leg drop. Then we see Sasha get her in the bank statement on the outside of the ring. She takes her back into the ring and hits her with a frog splash. Then we see Becky do another leg drop from the top rope. And at this point, she's absolutely desperate to try to get this victory over Sasha Banks, but obviously Sasha Banks is not giving up. So they really like level it up. As this match keeps going, they keep leveling things up. They keep working at it faster and faster. We see Becky Lynch accidentally punch Bianca because she's going to, she tries to get at Sasha Banks, but Sasha Banks moves out of the way. She punches Bianca, and before she can even like have this like interaction with her and Bianca Belair, instead Sasha Banks comes out of nowhere and literally hits Becky Lynch with a flying knee. And this was absolutely epic because you just see her like coming out of nowhere. She hits her with the knee. Becky Lynch just like falls down on the barricade, and it happened so fast that it just made it like that much more enjoyable. Then we see Sasha go for the frog splash. Becky gets the knees up, so it goes poorly for Sasha Banks. And then after this, you see Sasha hit her with a backstabber. And then immediately after the backstabber, she gets her with the bank statement. And that is how Becky ends up going to the ropes. So she breaks this. And then finally, we see for the win, Sasha Banks hit another backstabber, and that is how Sasha Banks wins this match. So I did not do this match justice. I kind of just went through a couple of the moments that we talked that occurred during this match, but I would definitely say go out of your way and watch this match because this match was phenomenal. And I thought this was such a great win for Sasha Banks, a really great win for Sasha Banks. All right, guys, what did you think about all of this? Go ahead and let me know here. And let's get through a couple of the comments here. People are putting over Bianca on commentary. To be honest, I didn't even listen to Bianca's commentary. I was so enthralled with the match that the commentary, I did not even listen to it. We got a comment from George Dia who says, any combination of Sasha, Becky, Bayley, Charlotte, and Asuka usually produces a good match, but they rarely let any other woman get a chance to prove themselves. But that's no blame on the women at the top. That's no blame. I literally just explained that earlier. It's fine to have obviously your core women that are getting these great opportunities, but you still got to build. You got to build, man. I'm not saying any of those women should get less time. Nope. You just got to build more people to eventually get to that same, to get near that, same top, that same spot or at the very top with them as well. All right, and let's see what else we got. We got Sam 3 basically saying that the running knee of the commentary booth was a sweet spot. It was a really sweet spot. I really enjoyed it. We got a comment from Mac who says, one of the favorite things about this match was that it was a heel versus heel and the crowd, and we love both of them. We always say WWE can't book faces, but maybe they can book heels. Yeah, they do fine with the heel stuff. All right. Good stuff there. Lastly, we had the Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar contract signing. This was fun. There's not really much to say. I like the dynamic, like I mentioned earlier, of a heel Roman Reigns, babyface Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar's just putting his feet up on the table. Roman Reigns is just Brock Lesnar calls Paul Heyman his advocate, and Roman Reigns is just with all these facial expressions, really on point. They signed the contract, nothing else much there. But yes, the women's match was definitely the highlight of the show. That and also the Finn Balor match with Sami Zayn were definitely can't miss. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get into AEW Rampage. We're going to talk about the buy-in, and then we're going to go ahead and hop into the actual Rampage show. So let's get to it. So much to talk about. We got a super chat from Malcolm Mitchell who says, Brock has never looked happier. Brock looked great. Brock looks like he's having a great time. Thank you so much to Malcolm for sending in that super chat. We got a super chat from Nick Grasso kicking us off here with our AEW conversation saying, Rampage was very good. Brian Suzuki was a crazy match, and Tony Khan needs to sign Santana Garrett. Also, do you watch Dark Side of the Ring? I do watch Dark Side of the Ring. I haven't been able to see all of the episodes, but I have seen several of them. And usually when I do, I go ahead and tweet about it. And that's pretty much about it. I don't do any actual post shows for it. Although I did have a very in-depth conversation with Luke Owen on Wrestle Talk about the Plane Ride from Hell episode. That's probably the only Dark Side of the Ring episode where I've actually really, really discussed it. But thank you so much to Nick for sending in this super chat. All right. AEW. Let's talk about the buy-in. So the buy-in took place on YouTube. This was something that was announced a couple of days ago when they actually made this announcement. So this kind of obviously, looks like it was a fast decision. There were a couple people that were necessarily not all of that crazy about AEW essentially putting a match like Bryan Danielson and Minoru Suzuki on YouTube. There were some people that were like, what the hell? Why are they just giving it away on there? This, and that. To be honest, I did not have an issue with it whatsoever because, like I said before, but Minoru Suzuki was never the end destination. He is literally a bonus match that we are getting. He was not the end destination here for Bryan Danielson. So I, for one, did not mind that it was on YouTube. I think people underestimate the power of YouTube. If you have a smart TV, which a lot of people do, if you have a smart TV, you can easily access YouTube the way that you access Netflix, Hulu, Sling, Fox Sports, the Peacock, all of these damn apps. It is as easy as 1, 2, 3 to freaking access YouTube. And if anything, YouTube doesn't even charge. So you can go and have whoever, the world is at your feet for people to go and watch your content on YouTube. So I did see a lot of people trashing YouTube, and I am not here for the YouTube trashing. Now, it would be a totally different story if like all of a sudden AEW was giving away like a bunch of matches on YouTube. Then I would say, you know what, maybe we have a problem. But I didn't think it was that big of an issue that they put Minoru Suzuki, Bryan Danielson here on YouTube. But that was a big conversation as well. As well. All right. And let's see what else we got. We got so many different comments here, like so many. And I mean, pretty much everybody here is just basically saying like the exact same thing that I just said. Christian Ramos says, I have 2 smart TVs and 2 computers. LOL. We got Twitch Face 4 who says, when 2 companies are trying to outdo each other, the fans are the winners. No complaints here. And we also have this is a comment from Big Cheese who says, it was posted on YouTube specifically to counter WWE. How does no one get that? That's whatever, guys. Like, dude, at the end of the day, like, this is what I think. This is how I see things. It's like, chances are that the audience that they were trying to get for Bryan Danielson, Minoru Suzuki is like such a specific audience that chances are a lot of those people probably weren't going to even like, I'm not going to say weren't even going to tune into SmackDown. That's not the right way to say it. But it's like, it's such a, people like different stuff. If that's what you wanted to see, then that's what you were going to tune in for. If you weren't going to tune in for it, then you weren't going to tune in for it. Like, it's that simple. But I just saw like a lot of people were like pretty upset about this. But I was just like, I kind of felt that it went a little bit too much where like people were just upset about it just for the sake of being upset about the fact that they were putting on a show to essentially contradict with the SmackDown, supersized SmackDown. So I mean, it was what it was. We got a super chat from Christopher Marino who says if Bryan Danielson isn't the best wrestler in the world, then there isn't one. I've had people coming up to me like at shows when I'm ring announcing. I'll have people go up to me and they're like, so Denise, who do you think is a better wrestler, Kenny Omega or Bryan Danielson? I've been finding myself having this conversation with people and I'm just like, and I know some people here are probably going to be like, damn it, Denise, you didn't pick my guy. But you know what? Screw it. Everybody's allowed to have an opinion. Who's better, in my opinion, Kenny Omega or Bryan Danielson? I'm going to go with Bryan Danielson. All right. I'm sorry. That's my pick. Fight amongst yourselves, but Bryan Danielson is my pick. I don't know why I brought this up, but I'm bringing it up. I just like to cause drama. Thank you so much to Christopher Marino for sending in this super chat. I really appreciate it. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and move on because we got so much to talk about here. Anyway, so they kick off the show with Santana Garrett versus Ty Conti. This was a perfectly fine match, guys. Like, so Santana Garrett, we didn't get to see much of her when she was in WWE. Like, I can remember 2 things from Santana Garrett. Honest to God, that's all I can remember is 2 things. I remember her in the Mae Young Classic because I covered that. And I remember her on the Royal Rumble. And that's it. That's my entire memory of Santana Garrett. So I kind of went into this where like, I didn't really know, like, I mean, obviously I had seen her, but I didn't really know what to expect from her, you know? Like, yeah, I had seen a little bits of her here and there, but not enough to really gauge what a person can fully do, you know? It would be unfair to kind of just judge her off of that. Like, I wouldn't want to do that. Anyways, we had Santana Garrett, Ty Conti, guys. What I liked about this match, first and foremost, is that you saw something new with a new competitor with Santana Garrett. And then you saw Ty Conti, who is literally becoming like even more popular than she already was. Like she's just so likable. It's hard not to like Ty Conti. Like if you don't like Ty Conti, I don't even believe you. Everybody likes Ty Conti. This was a good match. This was perfectly fine. We see Ty Conti has honestly been improving more and more. I mean, she's literally been utilizing every single match that she has had, whether it's on Dark Elevation, on Dynamite, Rampage, whatever the hell she's on. She's been utilizing each and every single match to really get better. And you are definitely seeing that it's coming through in her work. So I got to put over Ty Conti on this one, guys. Like Santana Garrett was perfectly fine. But for me, obviously, it was Ty Conti who kind of pushed this match to me in another level. Ty Conti ended up winning with the Hammerlock DDT. Good win for Ty Conti against a good opponent. Perfectly fine opening match. And let's see what else we got here. We got a couple more comments here. Everybody here just loves just loves Ty Conti. That's all I'm getting here. Everybody loves Ty Conti. Christian Ramos says Ty Conti is a pure baby face. Question the Mark says, I love Ty's judo throws. Obviously, she's, really great at that. So it's been nice to also see her incorporate that into her wrestling, which obviously is what you would want to see. And we got so many comments on this Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson situation. I'll probably post it on Twitter. I've been wanting to do that for a while, but I was like, I'll give it a hot minute. I'm gonna give it a minute here. All right. So let's go ahead and move on. After this, we had a pretty long package where they were pretty much putting over Junior Dos Santos. They basically had a nice, long video package putting over his accomplishments and kind of who he was. I thought this was a perfectly fine. It gave me time to watch SmackDown. I'll be honest. I was like, I could kind of care less about the video package. Like I saw it, it was fine, but I did use I did take this time to pay attention to SmackDown. All right. I'll be honest. I didn't need to see the video package that much. But for those that were just watching this show solely, I did think it was a good way to get the people familiar with him, especially considering that you were going to be seeing him. Obviously, the wrestling fans that don't know him, for them to get familiar with him because you were going to be seeing him later on that night on Rampage. Then we had Lee Moriarty versus Bobby Fish. And if you guys haven't heard, Lee is officially all elite. He is officially signed with the company. So congratulations to Lee. He's one of those guys that you've just kind of been hearing his name left and right. So I'm not surprised whatsoever that AEW snatched him up. Not surprised whatsoever. This was a perfectly fine match too, guys. Really good. We see Bobby Fish with a kick to the head. He does a buzzsaw kick. That was pretty cool. One of the things that I kind of want to get over during this match is that because the Bobby Fish that we saw in NXT, this was probably this was the closest that we have seen to Bobby Fish to what he was prior to his NXT days that we have in a very long time, because we didn't really get to see this version of Bobby Fish on NXT because either he wasn't given the opportunities or he was injured. So we didn't really get to see this, light shined on Bobby Fish the way that we did get to see tonight. I thought that Lee was a great opponent for Bobby Fish. And I did think that I know a lot of people wanted Lee to get the win, but given the fact that we're heading into this match with Bobby Fish and Bryan Danielson, it would have been wrong to have Bobby Fish lose this match because, again, he's going into this match with Bryan. So I'm glad that they gave Bobby Fish this win here, and he needed the win. I thought this match was perfectly fine. Good stuff here. And let me see if we got any comments. If not, I'm going to go ahead and move on to Bryan Danielson versus Minoru Suzuki, and we'll go through all of that here. And this is a super chat from Jose who says that Ty versus Santana was a rematch from NXT. Smiley face. Was it really? I don't remember. I told you, I remember two things from Santana Garrett. So I didn't even remember this. So thank you for the fun fact. I appreciate it. And let's go through a couple more comments. Let's see, we got so many. This one's from Andrew, who says that Lee is making so much out of the time that he gets. And that's what you got to do. That's how certain guys are getting over nowadays. That's how, Daniel Garcia got over. That's how Dante Martin gets over. You got to get over by utilizing whatever single amount of TV time that you can get, because AEW does have a very stacked roster, and so many guys do not get TV time. And if they do, you don't always get a nice 10, 15 minutes. So it's whatever time you can get, whether you're doing a promo, a vignette or something, whatever it is that you're doing, you got to really make sure you stand out. We got a super chat from Mike Lima 777 who says, had posted my 10th month milestone comment earlier. Danielson has 2 match of the year contenders in the last month. Rampage was awesome. Dude, Bryan Danielson, he has literally been living in terms of the best wrestling life, because he has been having matches with just about, let's talk about these. So let me pull up the list so I can make sure I don't forget anybody. All right, so he had his match with Kenny Omega, obviously. That was one of those dream matches where everybody was just losing and shitting bricks and just freaking out over. So that within itself was just a very, very high peak moment there for Bryan Danielson. You had Bryan Danielson versus Nick Jackson. That was another really good match. Really fun to see him mix it up in there with Nick Jackson. And then he had that 8-person tag where he teamed with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus and Christian Cage. And then they went on to face Adam Cole, Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson. So it's like that match, then on top of the match that he had today with Minoru Suzuki, and then on top of that, he has the match coming up with Bobby Fish. It's kind of like he's like getting in like the very best that he possibly can. He's definitely going a totally different direction than CM Punk is, because Bryan Danielson's doing like a bunch of dream matches or just a bunch of cool matches. And I feel like CM Punk is doing more so of like the never before seen matches, aside from the one that we saw today, because we have seen that match before. But anyways, thank you so much to Mike Lima for sending in that super chat. All right. And I also want to give a shout out to Francisco Lopez. Francisco Lopez is a new member here on the YouTube channel. For those of you guys who don't know, you could become a member here on the YouTube channel, and you also get lots of bonus content. So if you're interested, come on over and become a YouTube member. All right, so let's do it, everybody. This is where I'm going to want your comments. I'm going to want your chats, all of that. Get it in here, because it is now time for the match that everybody was like losing their minds for the second that it was announced. Well, a lot of us were. We were losing our minds when we found out that we would be getting Bryan Danielson versus Minoru Suzuki. What the hell? And it was one of those situations too where like Tony Khan just like dropped it out of nowhere on Twitter. And if you weren't reading like the entire, because he wrote like an entire paragraph and tagged a bunch of people because he was talking about all the matches. And then you're reading it, right? And at the very bottom, it just says Bryan Danielson versus Minoru Suzuki. And I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like, that could have been easily missed. Obviously, everybody, the second they saw that, was like, tweeting it out and talking about it and freaking out. And then like instantly, I think it was trending like at number 4 on Twitter. So obviously people were finding out, but it was one of those things where like, yeah, we're going to have this, and that. Oh, and by the way, we're also having Minoru Suzuki and Bryan Danielson. So it was pretty cool to kind of see that. But when I say that this was a great wrestling match, it's not enough to say that. It's not enough. It's not enough, guys. Like, me saying it's a great wrestling match was not enough. Let's talk about what they did here, because they did a lot. And then I want to get into your thoughts here. So first and foremost, dude, my favorite thing about this match was not just that it was good. That's fine. We already know it's good. But they actually let the fans savor every single moment of this match. They worked it in a way where it was like you had them go out there, right? And they started off with the test of strength, okay? So we saw them do that. Suzuki literally just brings Bryan Danielson to his knees. From there, Bryan ends up working the left arm of Suzuki. Then we see, and by the way, I'm just highlighting some of the stuff that we saw because they did so much. We see, so after he starts working the arm of Suzuki, we then see Suzuki put him in the abdominal stretch, okay? Then we see Danielson go for the ankle of Suzuki, but Suzuki literally, obviously, he's been around the town before. He's not gonna let himself be taken over that easily. So there's this moment. So that's just the start of this match. And then there's this moment where Bryan and Minoru Suzuki are kind of just like looking at each other, and like everybody in the crowd is going crazy. They're chanting, like this is wrestling, this and that. And you see the smile on Bryan Danielson's face, and he literally looks like he's he's savoring the moment himself. Like, even as a wrestler, as a talent, he's out there and he's enjoying it. Like, the way that I saw it was like, dude, like, he's marking out right now because this is a dream match. And it was really cool to sort of see that expression in his face. And Minoru Suzuki, like, he has such great expressions too. He always has like the I'm gonna kill you, like, hi, you think you got the best of me, but I'm literally gonna kill you right now. He kind of had like a different reaction where it was kind of like, that's what we normally see from Minoru Suzuki, but this time he kind of had like this, they both had this like moment where they both got it and they knew how important it was, and they kind of had that like shared moment together. So it was pretty cool to see that. We have a super chat from Phyllis A, who says, who do you think wins that half-hour war? We'll talk about that shortly, because this wasn't the match that went up with the last half hour. So I will talk about that in a second. But thank you so much to Phyllis A for sending in this super chat. And then we have a super chat from Murad Algami who says, love, love, love the match, but I hold my breath every time Danielson took those forearms to the face. Thank you so much to Murad for also sending in that super chat as well. All right, so after they have this like moment where they're like both staring at each other, after this, they start doing what I really liked here, because you see Minoru Suzuki essentially do like these like open hand palm strikes on Bryan Danielson, and he's like sizing him up. And here's the thing, like, he's one of the few people like that can actually do it. Like every time he does it, it's literally like makes a sound like if a knife is literally stabbing at Bryan Danielson. Like that's how, like that was the impact of that. And instead of seeing Bryan Danielson like go at him, you know, with the exact same thing or with a chop or with something like that, instead he gets him, you know, with a bunch of kicks. And they kind of do this a little bit back and forth, but they don't do it like so fast. It gives you enough time to kind of like soak in each and every single strike. So I did like that. And then afterwards, they level it up a notch. So they go through like different paces throughout this match. Then you see Bryan Danielson literally get him with a bunch of elbow strikes, literally just like here, like to the neck in like the shoulder area. And he's just like banging in like at a full speed, getting in those elbow strikes. Then Bryan tries to get him with the cattle mutilation, but Minoru Suzuki, he knows it and he gets out of it. He doesn't even get close to it. Suzuki then starts literally bending Bryan Danielson like a pretzel. His body, he's doing so many different things where like he transitions from one thing to another. He does a hammerlock. He hyperextends the arm. He literally works the wrist. He does so much while he's on the ground where like every second it's like something, something different that he's doing there. Then afterwards, we see Bryan get him in the corner of the ring, and he just starts chopping him insanely. And he starts chopping and kicking him. And he starts doing that combination of chops and kicks, chops and kicks, chops and kicks. And then we start to see a little bit of blood on Suzuki's chest. I don't really know if it was like his chest or if it was coming from Danielson, but it was there. Then we see Danielson get the label lock. He gets the label lock. And then after that, he gets him in the Ring of Saturns. That was another good moment too. And then they just pick up the speed once again. They start exchanging forearms. And then finally, we see the win with Bryan Danielson getting him with a running knee. Now, I know I just said a bunch of stuff right there, but I was literally trying to kind of like paint you guys this picture of like all of the different stuff that they did. Because when you watch this match, it was just like, so many different levels of like work that they did where it like the fans chanting, "This is wrestling." That's what it was. Literally, that's what it was. So I love this match. I thought it was very entertaining. I thought that it lived up to the expectations of Bryan Danielson, Minoru Suzuki, and they let the people enjoy it. And it was good stuff, man. Like, I don't care that it was on YouTube. It was good stuff. How did you guys feel about this match? Did you guys think that it kicked ass? Do you guys think it lived up to your expectations or the expectations that we all had? Go ahead and let me know here in the chat, and I'm going to go through a couple of these comments here. We got a super chat from Christopher Marino who says, Suzuki on the greatest North American tour, showing up everywhere with GCW, AEW, and soon Impact. Dude, I got to see him at GCW, and I'm going to be seeing him again at GCW, and I am so excited that I kind of got to witness that in person. And, you know, he was obviously announced for Impact Wrestling tapings. We just saw him on AEW. We've been seeing him on AEW. I think it's really cool that he's getting like in all of these different opportunities and having so many different matches with different types of wrestlers, different types of guys, you know, in promotions that each bring something different to the table. So he's sort of catering a bunch of, different fan bases there. So thank you so much to Christopher Marino for sending in that super chat there. And let's go through a couple more. We got another super chat from OG85 who says Crown Jewel is not a glorified house show anymore. They got a lot of really big matches announced for Crown Jewel. We got another super chat from Jose Palomares who says Danielson versus Suzuki is definitely a match of the year candidate for me. I agree. It's definitely up there. I think if it's not up there, you're just lying to yourself. You're just lying to yourself. Let's go through a couple more. I'm going to go through a couple more. Everybody's just basically saying it was a match of the year contender. And guys, if I do not see your comment, you can always send it in once again. We got one from Sean Harrington who says that first forearm was epic, but I think Danielson is just that great of a style guy. People legitimately think that he's always hurt. And let's go through a couple more comments. This one is from Robert Bailey Jr., who says, Danielson, Suzuki mirrored Kobashi Joe in many ways as far as Japanese wrestling crossover, with a touch of American nuance. Only difference was the intensity was turned up a notch and the something. Okay, thank you so much to Robert Bailey Jr. We got people basically saying that this match was crazy. We got Davier Hodas, who says, I love Suzuki laying in on the groundwork, inviting Danielson in while laughing. And let's go through a couple more. I'm going through several more, guys. I'm trying to get as many comments as I can. So give me a second as I find these. This one's from Justin, who says, Danielson versus Suzuki was everything you could want in a pro wrestling match. So much back and forth drama and phenomenal hard-hitting action. And everybody's saying this is like match of the year. We got so many comments of so many different people saying the exact same thing. Carney Business says, even that running flying knee at the end from Danielson looked extra stiff tonight. Some awesome pro wrestling tonight. Andrew Cook says this match was a true live experience. It was heartwarmingly awesome for wrestling fans. This one's from Leonard, who says, it was a dream match I didn't even realize I wanted, which was better than I could have imagined for real. Just an exceptional match from start to finish. And let's go through some more here. All right. I think I got pretty much a lot of your guys' comments. But once again, if I missed your comment or if you really want to get your comment read, you can always go ahead and send it in a super chat and I will definitely read it. I will definitely read it here. And this one is from Devin, who says, the final 1 minute of the match was so freaking lit. I couldn't handle it. The Cooge97 says, Danielson's chest has so many red welts since he's been in AEW, and I believe he loves it. He is free to be who he wants to be now. And this one is from Baked Cheese It, who says, I implore any of you who haven't seen it after the stream to go watch that match. 10 out of 10. I am going to be interested to see like what the number is like in like, obviously a couple of days, like with YouTube guys, like videos, sometimes like videos like get popular right away, but sometimes they take a while and, you know, they just kind of like continue growing throughout like, you know, throughout a period of time. So I am going to be interested to see what that 24-hour number is, what that 48 number hour is, you know, what it's like after a week, etc. So that's going to be definitely something to keep checking back on, just to kind of see what it did. But either way, I think at the end of the day, it made a lot of people happy. All right, guys, so here we go. Man, we still got Rampage to talk about. Oh, my God. CM Punk versus Matt Sydal. 0 commercials. They shake hands before this match. They go at it. CM Punk has had a lot of really different opponents. He's had different types of matches with just about everybody that he's wrestled with. We saw him go at it with Darby Allin. We saw him go at it with Powerhouse Hobbs, Daniel Garcia. I think out of all of the names, though, I think his match with Matt Sydal was probably the one that I wasn't necessarily as, like, I wasn't looking forward to it as much as I was like the Daniel Garcia match, the Hobbs match, the Darby Allin match. So this one for me, because like we've seen this match before, I wasn't necessarily like, oh my God, like this is a match I definitely need to see. So for me, like during this portion of CM Punk Matt Sydal was when we had on SmackDown, we had Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. And I just got to tell you, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, I think definitely won that like period where it was like you either watch CM Punk Matt Sydal, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks for me grabbed my attention so much more. I just kind of felt a little bit more invested into that match than I did CM Punk Matt Sydal. But that's not to take away anything from CM Punk Matt Sydal, because I still thought that they did a hell of a job out there. We did see CM Punk win this match with the GTS, and it is clear that CM Punk definitely is getting his wrestling legs back underneath him. And I do kind of prefer to see like different opponents also that I haven't seen him wrestle before. So that is one of the things that I do want to go ahead and just like throw out there really quickly. We got a super chat though, and this one is from Jose Palomares, who says, that was a great Ring of Honor style match. Loved the ending. It was a fun match, guys. It was a fun match. And that's the thing too, is that because Matt Sydal also brings in like this very like, he brings in so much athleticism, and to kind of see that mixed in with CM Punk's style, it's a really nice like combination that you get to see from the both of them. This is a comment from Question the Mark, who says CM Punk is getting better and better after each match. Dude, every wrestler that I talk to, whenever I do, these interviews and whenever the conversation of like ring rust comes up, like it's a legitimate thing. Like, no matter what, like if you go like a period of time, and especially if you go, 7 years like CM Punk did, you're gonna have that ring rust there, and it's gonna take, a hot second to get back to, where he was at before. And at the end of the year, it's still, at the end of the day, it's still 7 years that went by, so it's like, cool. He's getting better. He's getting more and more back to himself, And we got so many nice comments here, guys. A lot of people are just happy for CM Punk. That's how I feel. All right, and before we move on to the next topic here, I do want to remind you guys all that this Saturday, tomorrow, is technically AEW Dynamite. We didn't have a show on Wednesday, but we will be back here tomorrow. So heads up, everybody. Tomorrow, I am going to be in Las Vegas because I'm going to be doing a show. And so I think the show is going to end right before, and if not, like right at the time that Dynamite starts. So the second I finish that show, I'm going to hustle back on over to my hotel. I'm going to watch Dynamite. I might be a couple minutes behind, but as soon as I'm done watching that show, I will be going live on here to talk about Dynamite from my hotel room. So it will not be the exact same setup that you guys see here today. You guys already know the drill. Whenever I have like, shows that I have to go like another place, you guys know you're gonna get the sad hotel background, but it is what it is. So it'll be a good time though. It'll be a fun show, and I'll be able to tell you guys, what's going down in Las Vegas and all of that good stuff. But we got a super chat from Sheldon Jackson who says, "I'm still surprised that CM Punk has only wrestled on Rampage and not on Dynamite yet." Hasn't he already? Hold the phone. Hold the phone. 1 second. Where's my brain at, guys? Where is my brain at? Hold on. Dude, wow, you're right. Why did it take me so long to realize that? Okay, AEW All Out, Darby, Rampage Grand Slam. That's probably why in my head I was thinking Dynamite. Powerhouse Hobbs, Rampage Daniel Garcia, Rampage Matt Sydal. Dude, I didn't realize it till right now. I think like you just heard like glass shatter like in my head. Thank you so much, Sheldon Jackson, for sending that comment in. And dude, holy Jesus, Douglas Johnson, dude, thank you for this massive freaking super chat. Guys, Douglas Johnson, thank you so much, dude. Douglas Johnson just sent in a major super chat and says, "Murder Grandpa trying to kill everyone since coming back to America." Also, Brian is definitely confirmed to be into BDSM after joining AEW. Douglas, thank you so much for sending in the super chat, for watching the show. I cannot not thank you enough. Guys, please, I don't know what to do. I never know what to do with this stuff, guys. I never know what to do. Thank you, Douglas, though. I really appreciate it. And yeah, seriously, Murder Grandpa out here killing everybody. Hell yeah. You know what? Like at the end of the day, like, frick, like if he can still go and have these matches, knock out these dream matches out of the way. Like how many times don't you see like all of these wrestlers that you're like, oh, I wish this person would have fought this person. I wish they were around during the same time period because I would have liked to see this match, with this person. How many times don't we see people talking about that? And like with Minoru Suzuki, like we're getting this opportunity to see him, have these matches because he could still go, even though he's, older. Thank you so much, Douglas Johnson. I really, really appreciate this fantastic super chat. Now I'm going to go home and cry. Wait, I'm already home. All right, guys. Ruby versus the Bunny. This was a pretty fun match as well. We had German suplex from, one of my favorite parts of this match was a German suplex that we saw from Bunny to Ruby from the second rope. We do eventually see Ruby get the win here. This is kind of a fast match. Like it really wasn't like so much to get into here today. But after this match, we do see Ruby Riott get attacked by Penelope Ford. And then Penelope Ford and the Bunny both essentially attack Ruby. Penelope Ford gets on the brass knucks and literally punches Ruby in the face. They lay out Ruby and she's just kind of there. I kept thinking to myself, I was like, man, if only Ruby Riott had a friend, if only Ruby Riott had a friend to come out here and help her during this moment. Who do you think it could be? Jesus, it makes me sad. I'm not even going to get into that. All right, guys, let's move on. You guys all know what I'm talking about here. We're going to move on to the last segment of Rampage, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show. Friendly reminder, again, I just told you guys I'd be back here on Saturday. After this, I'll be back. After Saturday, I'll be back on Tuesday for NXT, and then I'll be back not on Wednesday because I don't think we're having a Wednesday Dynamite on the 20th. I'm not sure. I think we're having a Saturday Dynamite again. I'm not positive. Do not take my word for that. But let's get into this six-man match here. We had Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager, Chris Jericho versus Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, and making his wrestling debut, Junior Dos Santos. I almost messed that up. All right. This match, guys, this was not as bad as I was expecting it to be. It was not bad. It was okay. It was okay. You guys all have known how I've been feeling about this story. I haven't necessarily been interested all that much into this story. So I kind of went into this thinking like, all right, cool, whatever. I'm just going to watch this. Like, I really didn't have any sort of expectations or anything like that at all. We see Scorpio Sky and Sammy Guevara kick off this match. I thought it was a cool start. I will say this much. What made me like this match and anything that happened in this match was literally Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara made this match for me. He was the one going all over the place, man. He started all right off the bat with Scorpio Sky. We're just showing his agility left and right. That was pretty cool. Again, guys, when you have like these MMA guys come in and, they're doing, their punches, they don't know how to do the worked punches because they're not used to doing it, I don't want to say the weight. They're not used to doing worked punches, okay? So it kind of just didn't really look that great. I didn't really like that aspect of it, and I haven't been a fan of that. Either way, we then see Sammy and Scorpio Sky go at it again. We see Sammy Guevara essentially like just busting out more throughout this entire match, and then this is literally just the first half of the match. So the first half of the match, got to give it all to Sammy there. Then we see Chris Jericho, get all of his, spots in. He gets his insecurity. He gets his lion. So all of that was really fun to see. And then we see Jake Hager hit a Uranagi on Junior Dos Santos on the table. That was a pretty fun spot. I actually think that was probably the coolest part for Junior Dos Santos especially. So I would say that was probably the best moment for him. We see Chris Jericho get the walls of Jericho on Scorpio Sky, and then we see Paige Van Zant jump in and distract the referee. And while she distracts the referee, we see Jorge Masvidal essentially come in and do a running knee on Chris Jericho. He kind of missed this one by a foot, so they didn't do a replay. Probably because it wasn't that great, but he gets that in, and that is how Scorpio Sky is eventually able to get the win for his team. Again, it was what it was. This is not necessarily a story that I'm crazy about. It's probably one of my least favorite things. But after this, we all see them essentially go after Jericho. They start attacking. Jericho and Hager and all of that. And then we see Santana and Ortiz essentially come out and help them, which was nice. Definitely nice to see Santana and Ortiz get involved with this. And we all kind of expecting this, especially after we saw the spoilers from Tony Khan. So there you guys go. That was the show. Good stuff all around. So much went down, guys. I'm just like all over the place. We had so much wrestling, so many storylines. I don't even know how we fit all of this into a 1 hour something show, but let's get your thoughts in on how you guys felt about this main event for Rampage, and let's see what you guys all said here. This one is from A. Semper, who says, agree with your thoughts on this, Denise. Sammy and Jorge, Sammy's table spot brought me back to Sammy and Junior's table spot brought me back into the match. These MMA fighters need to take the Cain Velasquez approach and learn a few moves to really surprise us. We got a comment from David Ortiz who says, wish the MMA guys were a tiny bit more stiff, not too stiff, but stiff enough where the opponents can take it so that it looks more legit. Suzuki and Danielson were more stiff than the MMA guys. Yeah, again, it's like because they're doing like the worked punches, they end up making it look like really weak. So you just kind of see like a bunch of this going on. And I know the audio listeners can't see this right now, but I'm just doing like the saddest looking punches ever. And that's kind of what it looked like, honestly. Let's see what else we got here. And I'm going to go through a couple more comments here. This one's from Riff55, who says it was a fun match, but nothing special. The Cooch97 says, the Miami crowd was chanting in Spanish. I really like that. Actually, I really like that. That made me very happy. And this is from Josh Bowen, who says, is it me or does American Top Team feel like a knockoff of Diamond Mine? Definitely not. I do not see them as a knockoff. No, definitely not. Definitely not. This is a comment from D. Eddie, who says, my problem is that I like the men of the year and I like Sammy Guevara and Santana and Ortiz, but don't like the window dressing much. It's hard to choose who to cheer. And then we have, let's go through a couple more. Twitch Face Force says, I was doing my Shane McMahon impression. What did I do? What did I do? Did I do a Shane McMahon impression? What did I do? I don't remember. Oh, man, guys, I'm running on terrible amount of sleeps. And let's go through a couple more comments. We got a super chat from Murad Ogami. Thank you so much to Murad, who says, if you had to pick a woman to join the inner circle to fight Paige Van Zant, who would be? I would say Soul or Thunder Rosa. See, guys, I kind of don't like. I know this is the second time I get asked this question. I would definitely not say Thunder Rosa because I think she's perfectly fine on her own. Like, she doesn't necessarily need to be part of that. Like, she's doing fine on her own. I don't know what woman I would want because I haven't necessarily put that much thought into it, but it seems like a lot of people have. Well, 2 people already asked this, but I just don't have an answer for you, honestly. I really don't. Like, I don't have an answer for you. If you guys have somebody you guys would like, go ahead and send in your comments here. I would really appreciate it. Oh, thank you guys. Okay, so everybody was saying I was doing my Shane McMahon impressions with my weak punches. Sorry, I didn't get it. I was like, what are you guys talking about? What Shane McMahon reaction did I do? Like, what did I do? Oh, it was my terrible punches. All right, cool. Okay, I get the joke now, guys. Thanks. I get the joke. I'm in on the joke. Hell yeah. All right. Cool. I think I got pretty much everything. Oh, people are suggesting Layla Hirsch. Oh, that's a good one. Why didn't I think of Layla Hirsch? That would actually be a nice spot for Layla Hirsch because other than that, dude, I like Layla Hirsch. Actually, I do like that. I do like Layla Hirsch. Someone says Big Swole. Big Swole could also be a good shout as well. I mean, to find a spot for some of the women that necessarily don't have like a story being told right now, that would be a good way to sort of incorporate somebody and give them a spotlight that they probably wouldn't have had prior to this. So there you go. That would be some good options there. I've got a lot of people saying they like Layla Hirsch. That would be a really good option. We got a super chat from Jose Palomares who says, off the subject, check out Desert Island Grabs with Tom Campbell. So guys, I did an interview with Tom over on Cultaholic, and I have the link somewhere on my Twitter account. I'll probably reshare it probably tonight or tomorrow or something. But that was probably one of the most open and honest interviews that I have ever done. And Tom kind of asked me a bunch of questions and kind of got a lot of dirt out of me. A lot of stuff that I necessarily haven't made public that a lot of people kind of don't know. All of that is up there in that interview with Tom. And a lot of people that have already listened to it have been reaching out to me, and they've been really, really happy about that conversation because I think there was a lot of stuff that they did not know. And so based on the comments and feedback that I've gotten from listeners of that interview that I did with Tom, everybody has been really liking it. So that's been making me very happy. Thank you so much to Jose for not only bringing this up, but also sending in a super chat. I really appreciate it. All right, guys, I think I got pretty much everything here. There you go. We did it. We did it. The day is done. What a day. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, it was a long, long day, guys. I've literally been up since 7 in the morning. I had a show at 8. Immediately after that, I had a ton of videos. I don't even know. The day's a blur now. A ton of editing. And then before I knew it, it was time to watch wrestling. And now I literally have to pack my bags. I got to wake up early tomorrow and I got to drive to Las Vegas and do the show. I'm going to be doing ring announcing and commentary. Damn. So I'm going to be doing both things tomorrow in Las Vegas for Poder Tres. And then after that, I'm literally going to rush back to my hotel, do the post show, for Dynamite, and then immediately after that go to sleep and then wake up and drive back to Los Angeles and then have the rest of Sunday off and then get ready for Monday, because then it's a whole other week. So it's gonna be like literally crazy, guys. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Also, if you guys haven't seen my announcement, my recent announcement, I'm officially working with Mission Pro Wrestling with Thunder Rosa's promotion. It's so crazy how that opportunity came about, guys. Like, so crazy. And I don't even know if I'll divulge I won't divulge the details of like how that came about just yet, but just know that I'm so excited. I'm going to be doing commentary, and I'm new to commentary, so like I'm kind of getting my feet wet and learning and growing and trying to do all of that stuff. So if I suck in the beginning, guys, give me a break. Give me a break. I'm going to try to get like good and all of that, and do everything in my power to grow as a commentator as well. So that's going to be very, very exciting to do. I'm kind of nervous, honestly. I'm a little nervous, but I'm really, really excited. I feel like as long as I got my research going, I got my batteries on, it'll be a good time. I got a super chat from Sheldon Jackson who says, "Did you listen to Biz Markey's Just a Friend yet, Denise?" No, I forgot. Please send me a Twitter reminder. If you have to send me one every day, do it. I will eventually get to it. It'll just go in my long to-do list, but eventually I do get to stuff. It takes me a second, but I get to it. Thank you so much to Sheldon for also sending that in. All right, guys, we got it down. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you guys tomorrow from Las Vegas. Bye, everybody. Take care. Have an awesome night, everyone. Thank you guys.